host of first-time voters in Karnataka, have a lot to say and are quite opinionated before the elections in the state. Let me chat with these students from the Jain University College for Management. I'm excited lot, some faculty members as well. Let me start with you. As Karnataka elections approach, what is the one change you'd like to see for the state in your view?
According to me, like the Karnataka government, it's not been stable for many years. It's like the government changes every year. So we would
Every year?
like every 4 years.
BJP has been here for 4
So yeah, it's like from every 4 years the government is stable. So like expecting a stable government for coming years.
You know what, as a citizen in general, I would like the same. A stable government.
Okay, so something that I would want to address is congestion issues. Bangalore is the second most congested city in the entire world, and I face the traffic issues on a daily basis where I take like 35 minutes to cover a stretch of 5 kilometers. So yes, that's
So congestion, but you know you have a small city with an influx of population. It's really hard for any government to maneuver. So I don't know if there is a solution around that. But yeah, what would you like to say?
I would like means environmental issues. If you see like whole Bangalore is called land of lakes. Now in currently I would say like there's no talking on this environmental issues properly. I would say like we have to focus.
There's no discussion on environmental issues. And here we boast of Bangalore. Weather, I don't know if the weather is still the same, is it?
The weather is quite different because I'm not from Bangalore. I'm from Udupi, and you know,
Still from Karnataka. Same.
but the weather change has been so much more drastic because when I first thought of coming here, everyone told me, "Oh, it's going to be beautiful. The weather's amazing. It rains all the time." And then I came here, and I'm like, "That's not happening."
But is that specific to Bangalore? What about Udupi and
Udupi has developed a lot in the last couple of years. We've had
environmentally?
as well, though there's been something called as a blue flag beach that came up, and that has really helped with maintaining the biodiversity and all of that. So it's lovely to see all of that. I mean, it also makes it a funner beach for us to be at because it's cleaner.
Bangalore is as cool, okay, but yeah, I agree that there should be some some kind of work towards the environment to fix the environment, and garbage strewn around. That's something that's really troublesome. Manav is also an alumni now, a trainer at the same college that he passed out in. Manav, what's your take?
So I think 2014 was a breakthrough election because a lot of first-time voters were there, and now in 2019 we've seen a lot of dip in the first-time voters.
The 35% dip in first-time voters compared to 2019.
Yeah, compared to
Compared to 2014, yes.
Right. So what's happening is I think the educated youth now we expect you to give us a roadmap to the manifesto and not just a manifesto. You tell me how you're going to fulfill the promises rather than just promising, right?
So you're saying a manifesto is something that will lure first-time voters to come out and vote, is that right?
Yeah, I also feel that because as India became one of the populous country, the labor force in India will tend to increase. So I feel government should take initiatives to have a standardized layoff system, as in case in France we have the standoff layoff period is 1 to 6 months, whereas in India we don't have that standardized layoff period. So I feel government should take steps in order to improve the working condition as well as to ensure the security for the laborers in Karnataka.
Oh, wow. Okay, security for laborers, but employment itself is a struggle in today's day.
Yeah, ma'am. So going to that, in employment we see a lot of schemes coming out for employment through government schemes itself, but you're seeing a lot of there's no implementation of schemes as such. And if you go to employment or any other small thing, let's say something as simple or trivial as building a road. We build a road, then 2 months later we remove the very same road telling we haven't put underground drains. So if we can't implement existing schemes which are not that technically difficult to implement, I think it's very difficult for us to actually employ people when we can't do something so simple. So I think it's
there is no vision. Somehow there's no plan that is concrete. You're always making plans and scrapping it, but when it comes to actual a layout of a city or a state, you can't do that. It's not, you're not writing it with pencil and rubbing it with rubber.
Yeah, so I would like to bring light on the EV policies that our government has brought. So there's been a significant jump in the EV registrations in Bangalore. And I just love the sound of EVs roaring around, and I believe it's really a very great initiative by the government for the environment as a whole.
Oh, okay, electric vehicles, but where are the plug points? I went to a mall the other day and it said EV station, like they had specifically parking meant for EV vehicles, but they had no charging points. So it's like they are welcoming the move without actual infrastructure building.
More towards I only see normal gas-powered cars in the EV parking spots nowadays.
Gas powered. Oh yeah, that also.
Well, I think it's all boils down to very two simple points. One is about the distribution in terms of civic bodies that are present, which cause a lot of difficulties in terms of utilities that are used by the common man. Two very simple examples is one, like you mentioned, the EV sector that's already present. Two, you asked if there was a solution for this in the beginning with regards to how there is a lot of distribution. Now, let's take two civic bodies, BMTC and Nama Metro. If both of them were to work in unison, we would solve half of that traffic problem that's currently present. The current ratio is 1:1 in terms of the people who are present and the number of cars, the vehicles they own.
You know, do you all notice wires hanging down in across Bengaluru city? Yeah, that's because lack of coordination between the BESCOM, the BBMP, and all the other actual agencies who are ideally supposed to be working in tandem. I don't know why that happens, and I don't know why no government has really thought of it, or their own body should be thinking of being in sync to be more effective. But yeah, lack of commitment.
So there's also a need of improvement of infrastructure is what I believe. And for example, now, as we already mentioned about the environmental issues, so for example, whenever there's a heavy rain which comes in Bengaluru especially, so we see there's always clogging of drains and so you just see a lot of water on the road itself and a lot of transport issues because of that. So that is one thing I would like the government to improve, especially.
Flooding is a real issue in Bengaluru and many surrounding areas as well. You have low-lying areas inundated with one small bout of rain. It doesn't even have to be heavy rains. One bout of rain and your city's infrastructure is exposed. I don't know if there's a fix because like I stress, and I'm sure all of you know, there's an influx of population, a small city which was planned, I don't know, centuries ago. How are you going to possibly expand? Building on lake beds was one thing that they already have done. What can you do now? Like bring down the construction? And there again, you will let go of all the big corporates and actually catch all the small, the weaker ones who are...
Like we can focus on going to tier 2 cities, developing tier 2 cities, rather than focusing only in Bangalore or something. Means I would say that focusing on tier 2 cities will help us like decongestion.
Absolutely. That's surely something that I'm sure governments are looking to. And what are the tier 2 cities that they have ventured into? Maybe someone can shed light on that. I'll come to you.
Now, since you mentioned infrastructure, I would like to throw light specifically on sports infrastructure. Although we know we have our Sri Kantirva Stadium, we lack many practice facilities, especially in schools where those students who are really promising in that field, who are really passionate about that field, don't get opportunity to train and hence don't get opportunity to move forward in the field. So that's something I would like the government to bring forward in the future.
Okay. I think one of them here mentioned the point about environment, right? And this comes down to a very basic point like cleanliness. And I also come from a hometown, Indore. When I go to Indore, I see that city has been it's been the cleanest for past 6 years. And I feel like a big city like Bangalore can't do that. So yeah, like Bangalore is known as the garden city.
What is Indore doing different that we aren't?
Basic thing, cleanliness. The roads are so clean, and I think one of the biggest things was also the demolishing of a lot of buildings that extended on the
encroachments.
That. Exactly. So that was the biggest factor when it came to like cleanliness and all of that. And
so you have your civic bodies that need to work around the clock and effectively. What about you? Encroachments is something also that needs to be dealt with. But the way we see the kind of encroachments on lake beds that have got approvals from actual bodies who are supposed to be denying them permissions, who will you hold accountable?
I mean, yeah, Bangalore has, for the longest time, historically, Bangalore has been a wetland, whether it's Sampangi Lake or all of that. Sampangi Lake is where Kantirva Stadium is right now. Yeah. So it has affected a lot of things like groundwater, or we see people who are having to dig 80 feet, 100 feet for bore wells. So that again has its own environmental implications when it comes to foundations and things like that. So I feel like certain policy measures or specific limits for groundwater.
And there are, there really are. There are regulations in place, but somehow we don't see the officials themselves following it. So lack of responsibility, no conviction in cases like this.
I think governments are looking at immediate benefits over long-term cost. For example, a lot of parties are coming out in their manifesto with freebies as such, paying down 3,000 rupees to employed, educated, unemployed people and stuff like that. But one thing that has to be noted is that gives immediate relief. But what about the long-term cost on the government? We've seen great countries or great economies crash down because of mistakes in their economics. Right?
Freebie culture is something that none of you appreciate?
No, I don't think freebie culture is something that's really prominent in nature. Freebies will, like he said, solve the problem for the time being. But at this point of time, what is it? What's the requirement? And 5 years down the line, is the infrastructure that they're going to do right now going to sustain itself? For example, just one small example. There was a state in Tamil Nadu, it's called Uduntarai, which I just heard of recently. It's completely built by one man. The sarpanch of that particular village educated himself and built an entire city with solar panels and houses like that. So educating people in the rural sections is helpful, but it also should reach to a point where it can be implemented and executed amongst the people living there.
Talking about infrastructure and development in that way, I think we should talk about how the budget is, split. And I have noticed, especially while doing research, that not enough budget is set aside for mental health. And we see that the governments don't play a lot of importance to that sector in particular. And we saw that act up, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. And we saw how a lot of individuals suffered. And if
you want to consult with one psychologist or psychiatrist, you really burn a hole in your pocket.
Exactly. So if you want to give freebies, give free mental health checkups. That's my take on that.
Oh, that's lovely. That's good to hear.
We are like going towards only if like the green the city they were just targeting on the city that's called like the green. They are not targeting on green city and that got smart city. They are taken an initiative of smart city and not targeting on green city, and the smart city is also not like just not implemented everywhere still now. But they'll just come up with the plan. There's no execution of the plan of smart city yet in Bangalore.
So smart city is a vision. You have so many tech parks already. Do you call that as a smart city, ma'am?
No. I think before that, I think I completely disagree with my kids.
Yeah, Sunita ma'am is an economics professor, and she has a different view on freebies.
I have a different view on freebies because at one certain point, the freebie offer can be measured as a social security. Right. Because in a country like us, the social security is almost negligible, though attempts have been made from recent year to enhance social security. I think for after Corona, or whatever we claim that Corona is over or whatever, I think this freebies is necessary for pumping money into the economy.
So when you say freebies, I mean, what about color TVs, pressure cookers, those kind of freebies, or straight cash?
Straight cash as unemployment benefits. That is important because as a state, we had a glorious fast of attracting a lot of FDI. But I think of late we have seen there is a slight decline. And we have seen states like UP racing ahead of us. And as a state which welcomed FDI like no other welcome, I think it's a challenge to take up. Any government comes, whichever party comes, first concentrate on that we are not attracting investment both from the country and outside the country. So if we create that, all the freebies automatically go up because we were the ones in early 90s showed the way for the entire country. Yeah. And today it's a very sad state of affairs. Unlike first-time voters, a repeated voter, it hurts sometimes that our economy is not doing as we were doing before.
So, and I've also noticed that some of the European countries, whoever, have initiated this freebie culture, or rather cash transaction to their people, have somehow, their anxiety levels were reduced. People felt a lot more safer and secure. And it did help boost the economy to a certain way. But there should be method to madness. To say all graduates, the Congress party says all graduates. I don't know. You should tell me if that's okay or not. All graduates get 3,000 rupees.
No, I don't think. I think it should be like very long ago. Mahal Nabis described able-bodied people who are ready to work who don't get work. Exactly. So I think that definition, if we are going to do, I think it will suit a lot. And it will also stop immigration. As all the children are telling about Bangalore getting stuffed, it will reduce if the money reaches there, provide an environment. See, we tried to create Biddi, Mysore as a two-tier setup. It didn't work. Yeah. I think we should concentrate on creating that as a two-tier setup.
Right. But I think that's what we already see Mysore doing so well. I'm assuming there's already a city that's known as a twin city for Bangalore, has huge business flourishing.
Clean city of Karnataka.
But not a...
Investment-wise, a lot of work has to...
Yeah, freebie culture
Yeah, I have a point because I feel that there's a need to define what are freebies. You can't define education and health benefits as freebie because it will eventually increase the person's ability to perform well. So I think there should be a clear definition of what freebies are. You can't determine education and health benefits as freebies. That I have a point to make.
Ma'am, so my simple point is, no matter how many freebies are announced by a government, in the end it's how you implement it. So Manrega exists from the early 2000s, but not many people, although they're unemployed, they don't get those benefits. So no matter how many schemes you launch, if existing schemes not being implemented, there is no purpose of these freebies. Right. So even if a person is told you will get 3,000 per month or per year, if you're a graduate or so on, you're expected to cough up some cash because for you to avail the benefits of that scheme. So in the end, no matter how many schemes of these freebies are launched, the fact that the end person, the person who is meant to get it.
And who knows, a lot of promises are made, but once the government comes to power, many of them are never fulfilled, right?
Yeah, exactly. And also the freebie culture should be avoided because we don't know the definition of graduates. So and in India, it's the major contribution is unorganized sector. And if I am working in the unorganized sector, I'll be claiming 3,000 again from the government. So which leads to the corruption more than before. So, and also my analysis of the overall Karnataka's elections, we have been not following the trend in the center. Just because we are so diversified. If we check the numbers of our state, so we are 11% in one community, 18% of another community. So 11, 12, 13, all these diversified people have one party to follow. So which leads a lot of confusion. And that again leads to the majority minority fight between the one who gets elected, and
that's the beauty of India, isn't it? We can't be devoid of that. India is all about that. India is all about communities, castes. Like I did say, as much as it is the beauty of India, it's also a curse because there are that many people that you've got to please.
Yeah. I think Karnataka, being one of the most developed states in southern India, and has been a very good benchmark for many other states across India. I feel that over many decades we've had a lot of people from Karnataka who've gone abroad and have made us proud and have brought in remittances to Karnataka and India overall. I think with COVID and unfortunately with repetitive COVID and many other reasons, say a war which has happened, right? We've had a lot of international migrants who've come back to India. Now, can Karnataka government do something for these international migrants? Can there be a clear policy which helps them integrate back seamlessly into the society, which gave them that?
That's what you're looking forward to.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Okay, according to my opinion, the election, whatever is going to happen, the result should be more on inclusive development as well as a stable government. When I'm saying inclusive development, I'm talking about more on development in terms of tier 2, tier 3 cities, plus concentrating more on whatever the area which is specialized. For example, if you go to North Karnataka, there they are specialized in one thing. So you have to give a kind of a yojana or a program to them separately, and you cannot make one dish and serve
one
to
size
everyone.
does not fit all.
You kind of have a balanced growth mindset when you're doing your policy planning. And encourage corporates or universities, which today are the hubs to, like a magnet, they pull people to Bangalore, allow them to set up another base in other cities, right? And automatically the shift will happen. And I think infrastructure-wise, we don't have to say, I think Karnataka can very well, think through. They're already in that direction.
One of the best already, but yeah, a little tweaking here there is certainly needed, a polishing.
Small point. So I think when we talk about tier 2 and tier 3 cities, I just have a small disagreement. It's about the fact that there has been sufficient amount of things that this particular government has also done. I'm just highlighting on that. For example, the Bangalore-Mysore highway. And on the way to Mysore, there's this place called Channapatna. All right, all of us know it as the city of toys when we pass through it.
Yeah,
but
they've lost out on business.
That's not true ideally. That's the point. So
I was there. That is true. I spoke to a bunch of them there. I spoke to a bunch of them there, and they were really disappointed that they would get a footfall of thousands of them earlier while passing through that stretch, but now they're hardly having business. They were in tears.
So the government of Karnataka has come up with a toy park in Channapatna, and there's been a brand that's set up. Channapatna has been the city.
I'm not too sure if I spotted that.
It's in the center of Chanapatna, and that's the place where a majority. In fact, I learnt about this yesterday.
Right. No, I was there. It was an art. It was a big setup, but I'm not too sure if that's got the required publicity at this point.
So it's still in the building phases, but my simple.
So then we're looking at another 5 years of distress for them.
True.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about like how.
That's where maybe some kind of freebie culture could be, pumping in some money there. For the moment.
Exactly. So the toy segment, for example, in Bangalore is booming. There are so many companies that focus on toys, Hamleys, etc.
That could be a nice link.
Exactly.
Exactly. So what governments or parties need to do at this point is, rather than just coming out and saying that everybody gets, look at the regions or the areas of the society that need some things. Okay, you just can't give
targeted.
I feel that is the problem here. There are a lot of untapped areas which have a lot of potential. Let it be cities, let it be parts of the society, let it be the semi-skilled workers. What are we doing them to push them towards the skilled areas? They'll be able to earn much more, create more opportunities.
I think, as continuing with Manav's point, skills is not an issue now. I think we have been giving lot of skills development and all those things. The problem is making them aware that what you're capable of, and if you're producing something, make it sellable. Like as
marketing your
yes, Suhas was telling, yes, we are toy city. I grew up with it. At 44, I know Chenpatna was a toy city. My children grew up with it. But the problem is that it is not affordable and it's not available. Like Chinese cheap stuffs. I think government should now, as government of Karnataka, whoever comes, should actually start identifying key areas and tell, okay, this is our product, I'll give you concession. South Korea did it in 90s. That's why today we use South Korean, skincare, their LG, and I think my house is filled with lot of South Korean stuff, whether it's Samsung or LG, because they did it in 90s. So are we incapable? No. I think they should start setting up this, and also PM has announced this Gati Shakti Yojana, where they are telling somebody dig, so you have to inform everybody. Some Gati Shakti should be also to skills, wherein they'll tell, okay, let's all come together, help the youth, because our unemployment is raising every.
Yeah, that was my only point. As much as skilled as you are, where are the jobs, right? That's really the worry.
Yeah, what I feel is government should also define the standard of production for toys. As we can see, the Chinese gifts and all the toys are not quite good for the health and kids that are using them.
Imagine the Chenpatna toys are all made with natural colors. The kids, the children, wood, eco-friendly. Children put it in their mouth is really no issue at all. So that kind of marketing is needed at this point.
There should be a certain standard for that.
It's like we buy Californian almonds or oranges, and all of us know they never originated there. That is the skill of marketing.
Alfonso Mango. Yeah. We have so many things, and also in addition to what we are contributing right now, it's important to set up R&D in each district so that you should balance the imbalance. So whichever district is very much core into it, so you can strengthen that district through your government policies and try to diversify those resources or anything which is available, so that gets recognition. And we have so many events like Khelo India and also AIU Fest we did. So there are many platforms now set. But only thing is training is needed, and also we should recognize those platforms how to be encashed.
All right. So today in Karnataka, if we have to sell one thing from the state of Karnataka and market it, what would be that in your view?
Mysore silk, yes, why not? And definitely, as ethnic products can be moved beyond Karnataka, I think what they should do is use a lot of the young minds at the university campuses. We would love to go on the ground and do it. They are very, very encouraging, right?
Sure. I mean, we have these.
I think
they
can.
Lot here could say.
Yeah. I think they can tie up with the universities and give us these live projects to take it forward. And let us be accountable for the timelines and the deadlines they have given us to meet. But one thing which I would like to add is, I think with a lot of, again, coming back to my migration as my favorite topic, the fact that we have a lot of young domestic migrants coming into Bangalore especially, it is turning out to be a very expensive city. Something needs to be done,
Absolutely. The standard of living is Oh my God! So yeah, cost of living is so expensive.
Yeah, the reason the cost.
It's on par with Delhi and not supposed to be in my view.
Yeah.
For a city and size of and the population of this.
And within no time, it's going to shoot up. One reason is we've seen the global companies have started layoffs. So that's the reason why we're seeing unemployment also go up in Bangalore. So if the government has to focus on some things, apart from the unorganized sector, the organized sector also has to be looked into, because educated people are losing their jobs. What about them? So instead of freebies, look at more opportunities that can be developed. Yeah, that will help you reduce the cost of living, because if everyone starts earning up to that level.
My point is, it's not like the government does not know about it, right? It's just that like they know that we have to create jobs, but what are the avenues? A quick word as I wrap here.
There are avenues that government has created, and we have created in the past.
What could they explore?
They explore, as Sachin was pointing to you, is that indigenous. Like as ma'am told about Mysore silk, there is Idkal silk. Idkal silk is not necessary to be worn only as a saree. Explore opportunities, set up R&D labs. And we have huge amount of state-run private universities which is going to give the students to help it out. I think any government which is coming to Karnataka, we always led from the front, and we had a habit of what you call it, except with RCB sometimes.
Except for RCB, we have a habit of leading from the front.
RCB at any cost, we love RCB.
We want them to hold the cup. Easily cup namdu.
That's for sure. I think we have huge amount of opportunities. We indigenize each district's ability. Many of us don't know Birdi produces, Ramnagar and Birdi produces a lot of silkworms. We can tap it.
Mandya and their jaggery.
Mandya, jaggery, we produce ragi, we have the finest quality of ragi. I'll give you a simple example. I don't know whether I can name companies or not. There is one very small company called as Mandya Organics. It's just set up on the highway. He sources the material from the farms across, and he's doing an amazing job, that man. And I think if one person can do, I think entire government can do.
It's about time the government taps into that potential. That's it for me here. I mean, if there's anything my point is the voting pattern has shown a dip in first-time voters, youngsters especially. Do we believe this time it's going to change?
Yes.
There's more of educated belief.
You got exams postponed because of that?
Yes.
Surely, what do you tell the other youth? What is their responsibility there?
So I think because the future, it's in our hands. So if we elect the right leaders for ourselves, we're going to have a better future for ourselves.
Absolutely. It's your responsibility to vote.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm going to say is I think it's high time all of us become more responsible and become more educated when it comes to voting and take charge, because we are the youth and we are going to take the country forward.
You are the future. More importantly,
I think political parties should come and tap this thing. Let them not have fights within themselves. Let them attract us as well. Let them satisfy us.
No, conscious to go and elect.
Absolutely. It should be your own conscience to vote, but at the same time, there is something called fatigue when you look at netas constantly bickering.
A feeling of not being heard. So I think through the course of time, there's never been an opportunity for youth like us. We might have several ideas. We might discuss it on WhatsApp groups, Twitter, Instagram, etc., social media. But where is the chance for us to actually be heard? The people who need to hear us don't really hear us. And
that's why we're here at India Today, trying to gather some of those voices there. And thank you very much. And I'm glad all of you are totally enthused to come out and vote this time. And we're going to track all the developments ahead of elections from Karnataka. This is Nabila Jamal signing off with Prashant for India Today, Bengaluru.